Are you serious? Are you serious? Guys, we have breaking news that is stunning. Stunning. And I'm going to share that with you in just a second. Let me put a real fast shout out for www.pastorpaulgold.com. That's www.pastorpaulgold.com, or call him on the phone at 877-646. And I've got to take this call. This has to do with my how my father's doing. So.
I see geese flying high above the water, a child fishing with his father in the rain. I can smell blackberry brandy and chocolate-covered candy. I see a soldier crying on a train, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And the light under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long as I dream with weary wonder, leaving Earth before the dawn. I walked the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. I feel the deepness of his weakness. I can taste the brandy sweetness at a roadside Idaho cafe. I can hear old Teddy laughing, Fitzgerald's toes a-tapping to the roaring sounds of yesterday. Falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And the light under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long as I dream with weary wonder, leaving Earth before the dawn. I walked the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And the light under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long as I dream with weary wonder, leaving Earth before the dawn. I walked the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And a shotgun blast echoed across the page, falling asleep, reading Hemingway.
Yeah, I know. He's really good. He's really good, you know?
Just like you, I spent a lifetime trying to pay a debt I could not pay. Yeah, just like you, couldn't borrow enough to right the wrong things I'd done. Then somewhere from a better place, Yeah, I heard somebody say, whoa, the blood is enough. Said it's so cleansing tough, and this life can't water it down. In it all sins they drown, and it's hard to understand that which flowed from his feet and hands. Oh, it's so cleansing tough, but the blood is enough. Spend everything I own trying to find a way to ease my troubled mind. Yeah, little like you, in a troubled world, peace I could not find. Then one day, from a much better place, yeah, I heard somebody say, whoa, the blood is enough. Said it's so cleansing tough, and this life can't water it down, no. In it all sins they drown, and it's hard to understand that which flowed from his feet and hands. Oh, it's so cleansing tough, but the blood is enough. Whoa, the blood is enough. Said it's so cleansing tough, and this life can't water it down. In it all sins they drown, and it's hard to understand that which flowed from his feet and hands. Oh, it's so cleansing tough. So the blood is enough, and it's hard to understand that which flowed from his feet and hands. Oh, it's so cleansing tough. Yeah, the blood is enough. Yeah, nah, nah.
That's Kevin Wilson, and the blood is enough. Know about that. Thank you, guys. I'm so sorry I had to, but I've been waiting for a while on that phone call. My dad is in the hospital again, and so Heidi is there in Indiana. She just walked into the hospital, and So pray for my dad. He's not doing too well. And Heidi's calling me back. Hello? Okay, I'll get it. Okay, I'll take care of it. Okay, bye. Sorry about that, everybody. Sorry about all that, okay? So pray for my dad if you would, okay? Pray for my dad. Pray for my mom, too. She has Parkinson's, and it's getting worse. And Dad has been in and out of the hospital, I don't know, 7, 8 times in the last 3 weeks, maybe. But right now he's sicker than he has been. So please pray for him. Okay, so we have breaking news. I'll just go straight to that. We have breaking news at 2 different things, okay? Vladimir Putin was on the phone with Donald Trump today. I'm going to tell you what happened. But before they had their phone call, the Institute for War try to remember. Yeah, the Institute for War, who is monitoring on a daily basis what goes on in the Middle East and what goes on in Russia, Ukraine, and what goes on in Africa and different places where there is fighting and wars. And so that's all this group does. And it's generals and colonels, retired generals and colonels, and just a brain set that watch this every day and are consultants to the DOD. This is a report they just released, and it's verbatim what the Kremlin is saying. The Kremlin officials today publicly acknowledged that Russia seeks the complete destruction of Ukraine, the Ukrainian government, indicating Moscow's disinterest in good faith peace negotiations and a near-term resolution to the war. Russian Security Council Deputy Chairperson Dmitry Medvedev claimed on June 3rd in a post on his Russian and English language Telegram channels that Russia needs the negotiations in Istanbul to result in Russia's swift victory in Ukraine and the complete destruction of the Ukrainian government, and not a compromised peace on someone else's delusional terms. Now, this is a guy who was the former president of Russia and is now the Russian Security Council deputy chairperson. Medvedev stated that Russia's June 2nd Istanbul memorandum was in line with these goals and threatened that Russia will explode everything and disappear anyone who opposes Russia in response to the June 1st long-range Ukrainian drone strikes against Russia. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov claimed on June 3rd that Russia's Istanbul memorandum is aimed at eliminating the root causes of war in Ukraine and that people should not expect immediate decisions from Istanbul. Peskov stated that Russian President Vladimir Putin is interested in a future. This is the only part that, after all of this wanting the destruction of Ukraine, then he says this. This is key. But President Vladimir Putin is interested in a future trilateral meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump and Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky, but Putin wants it to be held in Russia. After all the technical details get worked out, he wants to meet Trump and Zelensky in the Kremlin, in Moscow, as part of a future ceasefire or long-term peace agreement. So Putin wants it on his term. He wants it on he wants home court advantage. He wants to be the guy who sets the date, sets the place, and summons Zelensky and Trump to him. This is how he wants to set this up. Now, Trump has been on the phone with Vladimir Putin today. And Putin is telling Trump Russia will have to respond to the latest Ukrainian drone attack. And even though they're trying to set a date for this peace deal, a meeting for potentially a peace meeting, Russia is saying we have to respond to this drone attack. U.S. President Donald Trump was on the phone with the Russian leader. Trump spoke for more than an hour with President Vladimir Putin, but he conceded that the talks would not lead to an immediate peace in Ukraine. And he warned that Russia would respond to Ukraine's successful attack this week on its airfields. The U.S. president, who repeatedly claimed he could end the Ukrainian war in 24 hours during his election campaign, did not attempt to discourage the Russian leader from retaliation, according to his description of the discussion on Truth Social. He noted instead that Putin had offered to participate in U.S. talks with Iran about its nuclear program, which Trump claimed Iran has been slow walking. In separate remarks today, Putin once again ruled out a comprehensive ceasefire with Ukraine, claiming it would just give Kiev time to regroup and rearm, while Ukraine's Vladimir Zelensky described Moscow's peace proposals presented earlier this week as nothing more than an ultimatum. The comments from both leaders confirmed that negotiations in Istanbul, Turkey, made no headway toward a truce, but the two sides signaled progress on other issues, including transfer of prisoners and dead bodies. Russia said it was working on the return of more than 300 Ukrainian children who the Kiev government and the International Criminal Court say was abducted by Russian forces from Ukrainian homes. It also confirmed that there would be prisoner exchanges in the coming days, and there were ongoing discussions on plans to return thousands of bodies of fallen soldiers from both sides. Zelensky said he expected 500 POWs to be swapped this weekend, but he said that the broader peace proposal put forward by Russia in Istanbul amounted to an ultimatum from the Russian side to us. Immediately after Monday's meeting, Ukrainian officials said they need more time to study the document that was handed over by the Russians, but press reports at the time said that it simply restated Russia's Marxist demand that Ukraine forces withdraw from the 4 regions under the partial Russian occupation. Putin said that his position on Wednesday in the form of a televised virtual meeting with his aides. And after being informed that Ukraine had proposed an unconditional ceasefire of 30 to 60 days, Vladimir Putin said, why reward them by giving them a break from the combat, which will be used to pump the regime with Western arms to continue their forced mobilization and to prepare different terrorist attacks on Russia. He pointed to recent Ukrainian attacks on the bridges inside Russia, one of which helped cause a train crash that killed 7 people and injured 76. So Ukraine took down those 2 bridges while those drones were hitting in 4 Russian military bases, destroying 41 of President Putin's doomsday nuclear planes. Now, Sunday, Ukraine, who carried out this remote-controlled mass drone attack, which Kiev claims knocked out a third of Moscow's heavy bombers capable of firing those cruise missiles. Ukrainian officials said that those 41 Russian warplanes, including strategic bombers and other types of combat aircraft, were destroyed or damaged in that operation. They claimed they had taken 18 months to plan it. It was called Operation Spiderweb. Satellite photos analyzed and published by the Associated Press showed aircraft wreckage and scorched areas on bases in 4 different airfields, taking out Tu-95s, at least 3 of those, at least 4 Tu-22 bombers capable of firing cruise missiles with nuclear warheads. And it goes on and on and on. Putin also spoke today with Pope Leo the 14th in who is a U.S.-born pope, the first American pope, first called to the Russian leader since he became the head of the world's Catholic Church. The Vatican said in a statement that during the call, the Pope made an appeal for Russia to make a gesture that favors peace. Before the Istanbul talks, Russia stepped up its aerial attacks on cities and pushed further into Ukraine's northern region of Sumy, seizing more than another 58 square miles of land and territory, including villages and homes and farmland. Of the area, in less than 2 weeks, they've taken the 58 square miles. During his election campaign, Trump claimed he thought he could stop this war, but as you can see, it still is going on, and it is, and it's frustrating to Trump because President Trump really thought that that there was an economic plan that would make sense for both sides and stop the killing. Where Trump missed it is that Putin doesn't want an economic plan with Ukraine. And what he also missed is that NATO doesn't want peace with Russia. NATO has gained 2 new members, picking up Sweden and Norway since the war began. 2 countries that border Russia that were neutral are now part of NATO. NATO has advanced even closer to the Russian border with nuclear capability. So Putin is feeling boxed in. And this is what I think we need to understand. I know it was Putin that invaded Ukraine, but it was NATO that was boxing in the bear. And it was the CIA, especially the military-industrial complex, using the CIA, that was creating this Russian revolution, if you will, in the eastern part of Ukraine before Putin ever came in. So that part of it, I'm not sure that Trump was aware of. Trump was thinking that the economic plan would solve it. That's not going to solve it. This is all or none, guys. And Mike Around the World said that in 2014. This is all or none. Putin is not going to let NATO set up shop in Ukraine. Putin is going to take back Ukraine. In his mind, that's it. Ukraine, in their mind, are trying to hang on to their country. But I think, and there's a lot of corruption also going on with a lot of our money that got taken away. And I got somebody going to knock on my door, and I don't have time for that. Okay. I got to deal with this. I'll be on with Pastor Melvin on Getting Ready. We'll probably talk about this, and I know he'll have a whole lot more as well. Now, a lot of money laundering. There was corruption. We know this on the Ukraine side with Zelensky. So you can see there's enough blame to go around, and there usually always is in a time of war. I'll see you guys at 7 o'clock tonight on Getting Ready.